the customer is always right is bullshit. Most of us have been raised with the belief that, we've heard it again, again, and again. The customer is always right. The customer is fundamentally this objectively better decision-making person in you and your business, and that you should cater to their thought process. And it's bullshit. Like, it just is, because if you do anything, like let's say you have a product where you have put in a lot of technical specifications to, create, like maybe you design jewelry, maybe you made an air filter, or, you put something that had a good deal of research and everything down into it in order to create that product. Or let's say you have a service where you are having to consult or coach, and it doesn't matter if you're a landscaper or if you call yourself a consultant or you're in, design, development, engineering, whatever. Fundamentally, what the customer is buying in that situation is your expertise, is your viewpoint on whatever problem they have in providing a solution. And in these contexts, the customer is right is completely and totally wrong. Now, what's not wrong is the sentiment that, we're sitting here thinking that the customer's needs, what they want, what they're looking for, is really what we're trying to say. And that's a little bit harder than saying, the customer's always right. So the customer usually has some kind of, issue. They have an issue that needs to be solved. That whether they're, buying any product at the store, if they're buying clothing, they want to look better, or they want to have a certain style. If they're, hiring, for example, for website design, they want, they're not getting the mileage out of their existing design, or they don't have one, and therefore they need, that expertise to help build them up. And it's our role as business owners, as people who are making products, people who are doing that, is to listen to the want and the need and look at the market and say, okay, how can I fulfill that so there's a right product market fit, a right service market fit, things like that. And that's entirely different from just saying, okay, well, if I go and I set up this project, and let's say we have to do some very technical things for SEO purpose, or that I know for a fact works better for conversion to get more people to opt in something on a website, or to engage better, to create a better experience. It is totally false for the customer then to come in and say, oh, I don't like that. It's like, well, I don't personally like pop-up email subscription things. Don't like them. Have never personally subscribed to any email list from a pop-up on the website. I come from an era on the internet where, there was spam pop-ups everywhere because everybody abused it until we got tons and tons of pop-up blockers. Many other people feel similarly. However, it is empirically proven that works to get more opt-ins. It's empirically proven that gets more, engagement. And when you're providing value is one of the best things that you can do in terms of orchestrating things like that. I don't personally like it, but my opinion in that case doesn't matter, because the empirical fact is that this is a best practice to go and do. So the role that you need to take is sitting there and saying, okay, well, what are they trying to say? What are they trying to express as their want? And then now, how can I fulfill that? How can I, take what I know where they need to go, and kind of guide them into that process to get there? And that's really what it should be, except again, it's not nearly as catchy as the customer is always right. So if you're sitting there and catering all your business practices to, I got to please the customer, all you're doing is giving them the power, and you're not serving anybody, and you end up frustrated, they end up frustrated, and it just never works. And, sometimes you just got to draw the line and say, no, this is how we're going to do it. And this is why. I hear you, I understand, and we're going to address that with such and such and such and such. Because otherwise it's just, it's just not worth it. That was my thought this morning when we were kind of going through and, looking through some feeds, was just that, why is there all this catering to the holy grail of the customer? And the only thing I can possibly think of is that somebody's too afraid to, kind of have their backbone, have their spine, and say, this is how we do it. This is the business. This is why you need to do it. And I'm the expert here, not you. Maybe not quite as direct as that, but it all comes from a scarcity point of view. A scarcity mindset, saying, okay, if I lose this customer, and if they're not a fit for me and my personality and my product offering, then I might forever, go through. I might not get another one, or I might struggle, or I might not be able to pay the bills. And I think that's where that fear-driven statement of the customer is always right comes from. So that's my thought for the day. We'll see you in the next one. I'm Frank Wazetter.